Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the directors and staff of the Dr. Mohan's Group of Diabetes Institutions, we extend a very warm welcome to all of you for the Victory Over Diabetes Award Function 2021. This function marks 100 years of insulin discovery, where we are honoring India's heroes and heroines with type 1 diabetes with Victory Over Diabetes Award. As per our tradition, we begin this special occasion invoking the blessings of the Almighty. I kindly request Dr. V. Mohan, Chairman, Dr. Mohan's Group of Diabetes Institutions, to welcome the gathering and introduce our dignitaries.
Thank you, Pradeepa. Respected chief guest of this evening's function, Dr. Jitendra Singh, respected guests of honor and other distinguished guests, awardees, children and adults with diabetes and their families, and various type 1 diabetes ambassadors and representatives of the press and media. On behalf of the directors and staff of Dr. Mohan's Group of Institutions, I have great pleasure in welcoming you all to the Victory Over Type 1 Diabetes Award ceremony. We are indeed privileged and honored to have with us today as our chief guest, Dr. Jitendra Singh, Union Minister of State Independent Charge, now holding the very, very important portfolios of Ministry of Science and Technology, which he was recently allotted by our Prime Minister, Earth Sciences, Prime Minister's Office, Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions. From this very impressive and multiple portfolios that he holds, we can all realize how much he is respected by our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji. Dr. Jitendra Singh was elected to the 16th and 17th Lok Sabha from the Udhampur constituency from Jammu and Kashmir in 2014 and 2019. Many of you may not know that in addition to being a well-known diabetologist himself, Dr. Jitendra Singh is a popular freelance journalist and a prolific writer, having contributed over 2,000 articles in national regional press, for which he was conferred the coveted Jamna Devi Gyan Devi Award for journalism. An outstanding physician, Dr. Jitendra Singh is also a patron of India's largest and the world's second largest diabetes association, the Research Society for Study of Diabetes in India, of which he was a member of the executive committee before he demitted his office when he became a minister. He is also the Joint Secretary of the Diabetes and Pregnancy Study Group of India, DIPSI, and many of you will know his pioneering work in the field of gestational diabetes, which is very close to his heart. He has also been associated with the editorial board of very prestigious journals, like the Journal of the Association of Physicians of India and the Journal of the Indian Medical Association. We in Chennai are very, very proud because we think he belongs to Chennai because he did his MBBS at Stanley Medical College. So a big round of applause to welcome him back to this function. And we'll tell you the Chennai connection a little later also. And then he did his MD and MNAMS at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, where he was trained by none other than the revered Professor MMS Ahuja. He hails from a very small village, and from there he has risen to such heights. As a physician, diabetologist, and scientist, Dr. Jitendra Singh has done pioneering work on stress diabetes in Kashmiri migrants, and has also authored several papers and chapters in textbooks, apart from delivering several orations and awards that he has received, including the Award of Outstanding Personality in 2009. His work on gestation diabetes mentions already well known. It is extremely gracious of you, sir, to be present with us. We know how busy you are, and therefore we warmly welcome you, sir, to this function. I know that we cannot personally hand over a bouquet or a memento to you, so therefore we'd like to virtually present a bouquet to you, which we request you to kindly accept. In these COVID times, this is the best that we can do. Thank you, sir, again for your presence. We extend a very warm welcome to Professor Shashank Joshi, who is the chairperson of the IDF South Asia region. If I want to tell you about all the associations which Professor Shashank Joshi has been the president of, I think the whole evening will go in that. There's virtually no association for which at his young age he has already been the president of, and the list includes API and RSSDA and Endocrine Society, and you can go on and on. He has also been the editor of virtually all the journals that you can name in India. He is also very well connected internationally, and he represents the Indian chapters of many associations. He was awarded the Padma Shri in 2014 by the government of India. Thank you, Shashank, for making it convenient to attend this function. We're very fortunate to have with us Dr. Banshi Sabu, President of the Research Society for Study of Diabetes in India, RSSDA, and also the All India Association Advancing Research and Obesity. I cannot tell you how much passion Dr. Banshi Sabu has for type 1 diabetes. I think he thinks about type 1 diabetes all the time. And when I was calling people for this function, I couldn't think of a more appropriate person. He also has an NGO named Diabetes Care India to create awareness about diabetes. Thank you, Banshi, for being here today. We are very honored and to welcome my very good friend, Professor Ashok Kumar Das, consultant at the Department of Medicine and Endocrinology of the Pondicherry Institute of Medical Sciences, Puducherry, and former head of Medicine and Endocrinology at JIPMA, Pondicherry. Dr. Ashok Kumar Das, again, like Dr. Shashank Joshi, has held virtually all the presidentships of all the national organizations, including API, RSSDI, the Dean of the Indian College of Physicians. More than that, he's been such a close friend that I don't think we have had any conference or meeting in which I've organized over the last 30 or 40 years, which not only he has participated, but taken a very big role as well. And therefore, I think it's our duty to say that you should be here with us. And thank you, Ashok, for being here and being part of us. We welcome Dr. Aspi Irani, pediatrician and neonatologist. I was thinking of who to call as a pediatrician because, this is a function about type 1 diabetes and it's in children. And when somebody told me, in fact, Cheryl Sachs told me, sir, Dr. Aspirani, I said, oh, why didn't I think of him? And so I immediately called him. And then he was very kind, even on the phone, to accept. He has over 42 years of experience as a pediatrician neonatologist. He's a pioneer in the management of type 1 diabetes. We're very happy to welcome you, Dr. Aspirani. Now, finally, last but not the least, I would like to welcome my very good friend, Dr. Mangesh Devaskar from Mumbai. He is the General Secretary of the Association of Physicians of India. He's soon taking over as Editor-in-Chief of the Journal of the Association of Physicians of India. He also is a founder of the Association of the Dahisar Diabetics, and he is a diabetologist at many institutions in Mumbai. So thank you, Mangesh, and thank you for being here. Today, we have with us representatives of, first of all, we have the various awardees, and we'll be talking to you about them very soon after this. And then we also have a very special person who's getting a very special award, Lakshmi Narayana. He's also there, and I won't steal the thunder now by talking to you about that. But we also have the representatives of virtually every type 1 diabetes association. 10 or 20 years ago, sir, Dr. Jitendra Singh, we would not have thought of, type 1 diabetes. First of all, they don't even tell that they have type 1 diabetes. They'll hide it. That is what in my father generation, my generation, your generation, that is how it has been. Today, these youngsters are not only coming forward, but they're forming associations and supporting people with type 1 diabetes. I think this is a very good movement in India. And I don't think many other countries have had so many associations. I think something which is made in India, which you and our Prime Minister are very fond of. And that's why I thought, let's include all of them. And of course, we have some superheroes and heroines among them here, and you'll be introduced to all of them. So a very big welcome to all of you. This function needs wide publicity, not because we need publicity, but because the message in the 100th year of insulin, that children with type 1 diabetes can grow up to live even up to 100 years of age, is a message. If that one message goes out from this meeting, I think it's very important. And it was in July 1921, exactly 100 years ago, that Banting and Best announced their discovery. And therefore, it's a very proud moment for us to all to get together to discuss the subject of type 1 diabetes. Therefore, I invite all the members of the press and media who are here today. Finally, I'd like to thank all our friends, well-wishers, patients, staff, and all others who are here, all family members. We are all an extended family, and thank you for your presence. Before we go on to the awardees, I have a special surprise for you. Now, I know about the clinic, and Dr. Jitendra Singh also knows about the 1948 clinic, which my father, Professor Vishwanathan, started in Stanley. My father told me there's something in Calcutta used to happen. I don't know much about it because those days communication was very poor. So we set about, from the last 8 to 9 months, I've been working, trying to say what actually happened. 1921, Banting and Best discovered insulin. Leonard Thompson got his first shot. We all know that. Who was the first Indian who got it? Who was the first diabetologist who gave insulin? Nothing was known. So it took me about 8 to 9 months to finally discover it. And in fact, an article is being published in JAPI and it will be out in 2 weeks' time. I've already seen so some highlights from that I will do. And I'll now go on to my presentation, which I'll share. Very briefly, I know time is precious. So I'm going to give you a very brief history of diabetes in pre-independent India. So this is a time when the British were ruling. And I thought nothing happened in India at that time. So let me rush through that. Now, the first report of diabetes in India actually came in 300 to 400 AD, when Charaka and Shushrutas, almost 2000 years ago, they had already described 2 types of Madhumeha, and we'll have a separate session on that. How much in Ayurveda is known about all this? Prameha, they called it. They also talked about obese diabetic and lean diabetic. They also talked about children getting diabetes, adults getting diabetes. So they had already described type 1 diabetes 2000 years ago, when probably the rest of the world did not even know about it. But then nothing much is known between 300 to 400 AD and 1850. Very strange. I'm still not able to find anything to fill the gaps. Then this article I wrote, and I'd like to especially thank my student, my former student, Dr. Balaji Bavdarani, who works in University of Toronto. It's from there that she managed to get many of these pearls of wisdom. Dr. Satyanath Mukhopadhyay went to the various places in Calcutta, and he is the one who provided a lot of information. And of course, Dr. Nalla Perumal in Chennai is a very good historian. In fact, every month he gives one lecture on history of diabetes, and I attended without fail because I learned so much from him. And these 3 people I would like to acknowledge. And of course, Dr. Mangesh Tivaskar helped in speed tracking this and fast tracking it and getting it out. And so very soon this article will be published. I'm not going to go into that, but in that there is a table which talks about what exactly happened in 1850. You will be surprised to know that Kailash Chandra Bose not only described the prevalence of diabetes, but also deaths due to diabetes. And then it goes on. 1867, there is a Muthuswamy, there's a Krishnaswamy Iyer who in 1919 talked about the meal consumed and so on. Muthuswamy again from Chennai, from Madras, described the medicinal properties of indigenous plants and so on and so forth. But there's one person whom I want to talk about, and that's Dr. J.P. Bose, who was the first diabetologist to use insulin in India. And we should create something in Dr. J.P. Bose's name. Now, prior to 1921, children with type 1 diabetes invariably died. Even yesterday, a child came to me, and the mother was still saying, is there nothing else other than insulin? To those parents who are listening, thousands are listening through Facebook and through YouTube right now as we speak. And to all those children and to all their parents, I would like to say, be thankful that your child was born after 1921 or born in the modern era. Because before 1921, these children died. And this is the kind of scenes that we used to see at that time. Children, dead bodies of children being taken to the mortuary. Keep this picture in mind. So this is what happens if you don't take insulin. Now, these are the 4 discoverers of insulin. In 1921, they started their work, Banting and Best, and I won't go into the controversy about this. I've already written an article in the Hindu, and I'm hoping to write some more. But finally, to cut a long story short, Banting and his boss MacLeod, a student Best who was in 2nd year, and Collett the chemist. These were the 4 people who officially discovered insulin, but the Nobel Prize was officially given only to Banting and MacLeod. And it's on May 3rd, 22 that they made their official discovery. And this is how children used to look before insulin. Again, I'm appealing to the mothers and fathers of children that if you did not give your child insulin, this is how your child can look like. And immediately after insulin, you can see within 2 months, 3 months, what is happening to the child, becoming a normal child. It's almost like a miracle. You can see this child almost dying and now becoming a normal adult. So this is a miracle of insulin, and for which the Nobel Prize was given within 1 year. 1923, commercial production of insulin came, and the first insulin came from Eli Lilly. But by the end of that year, Novo Nordisk had also produced it. And in 1923 October, the Nobel Prize was also announced. But what happened to India? And when did insulin come to India? After being 50 years in this field, I did not know. I thought maybe 1930, 40 something insulin came to India. I was therefore very surprised when I read this article in the Indian Medical Gazette that in March 1923, when the insulin was just discovered, there's an article saying insulin and diabetes in India. It has already come to India. Okay, it's like another miracle of mine, which I found. And this is the insulin which came to India. It was called the AB brand of insulin. AB stands for Allen and Hanbury and the British drug houses. They got the license from Eli Lilly to distribute it all over the world. And because we were a British colony at that time, it very quickly came to India. But then who was the first child who was treated with diabetes? The first mention of a type 1 diabetes person treated with insulin was in November 1923. Can you beat it? Only in September, October, insulin was freely available commercially. The Nobel Prize was given in October. And by November 23, we already have A.H. Proctor describing a female 35 years old who was treated with diabetic coma with insulin and how she recovered. But then it is J.P. Bose, Jyoti Prakash Bose, who I would really consider as the father or the grandfather of diabetes in India. Here is Bose's article written in 1930 on diabetes mellitus in children. And what Dr. Bose described, this is one of the first children I know of. The other one is 35 years old, so I can't call it as a child. But this is Kumudini, a Bengali Hindu female child, aged 12 years old, admitted to the Carmichael Hospital for Tropical Diseases in Calcutta on 23rd of June 1929, and this child completely recovered. It's almost a miraculous discovery. So we talk about Leonard Thompson. If you want to remember one Indian name, talk about Kumudini, who was the first one to receive insulin, and let's make these people famous. These are again children from Bose's series, where he has published chapters. He wrote textbooks on diabetes. In 1923, he was already writing textbooks of diabetes when Banting and Best were discovering insulin. And this is before treatment and after treatment, before treatment and after treatment. But history of diabetes is not complete without mentioning my father, because in 1948, just after independence, he started the first official diabetic clinic in independent India, which was at the Stanley Medical College, where Dr. Jitendra Singh also studied. So I'm sure he liked this picture of his old alma mater. Today, I'm happy to say it's been upgraded into an institute of diabetology. It's one of the first institutes of diabetology in South India. Therefore, I call Professor Vishnu, and many people call him as the father of diabetology in India. Finally, I'd like to say, is long-term survival of diabetes possible for over 50 years? Now, in 2013, I published this paper in Diabetes Care. This is the first and the only report I know of in the world literature, even till today, where we showed long-term survival of type 2 diabetic patients, where 40, 50 years of type 2 diabetes, where we get it only at 40, 50, and then we're showing 40, 50 years survival. And it's for this that the Harold Rifkin Award, by the highest award in the American Diabetes Association, was conferred on me. And these are some of the 90-year-old people, except my daughter Anjana and me. Everyone else in this room is above 90 years of age. And this man is actually 100 years of age when he came. And this man is our former chief secretary, still alive, he's 98. He'll soon be 100. So there are many people here who are marching towards the 100th year. So people can live up to 100 years of age despite diabetes. But the question comes, is it possible in type 1 diabetes also? Beginning of this year, we started collaborating with everybody in India. And Dr. Banshi Sabo was very kind enough to send me his cases, Satyanath, Sudeep Chatterjee, Paneer Selvam from GH, Madras Medical College, Dr. Sunil Gupta and Sharat Pansi from Nagpur, and so on. We had many people who contributed cases, and we have written up the first report of long-term survival. The definition was minimum 40 years they should have survived. And there was no such report in the world literature. This is under review in Diabetes Technology and Therapeutics. Hopefully by next month, this paper will come out. It will be the first paper to show this. Why did people live longer? I'm not going to go into it, but better glycemic control, better blood pressure control, and more favorable lipids was what we showed, and lower prevalence of complications. We have 76, this is my last slide. We have 76 long-term survivors above 40 years that I have identified. I'm sure there must be several hundred whom we don't know. But in this report, we've included 76, of which 58 have survived between 40 to 49 years, 40 to 49 years, 12 between 50 to 69 years. And in this report, we had 6 who had survived above 60 years. 5 of them are alive and are present in this function today. Subsequently, I identified one more, Mr. Krishnaswamy, just day before yesterday, and he is joining the function. This evening, I was told about yet another person, but we didn't have time to include them. So what I'm saying as the importance of this function, Honorable Minister, is that I think this will open a Pandora's box, and people will now say, oh, there are so many more people with diabetes, and that is exactly what we as diabetologists, I'm sure you'll agree, would like to say. So I will stop here, and I can stop sharing as well. And now we'll go on with the award ceremony, where we actually meet these 5 people. And now, of course, one more added, 6 people who have lived for 60 years with type 1 diabetes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We now move on to the most awaited part of the ceremony, the felicitation of long-standing individuals with type 1 diabetes who defeated diabetes for over 60 years. I request Dr. R.M. Anjana, Managing Director, Dr. Mohan's Group of Diabetes Institutions, to say a few words about the Dr. V. Mohan Victory Over Diabetes Medal.
Thank you very much, Pradeepa. The Dr. V. Mohan Victory Over Diabetes Medal is given to people with diabetes who are known to have lived with the disease for more than 60 years, maintaining good health with relatively few complications related to diabetes. And we have with us here more than 6 of these people who have survived with type 1 diabetes for more than 60 years, sorry. The aim of instituting this medal is to encourage and motivate people with diabetes and to inform them that it is possible to have a long and healthy life despite diabetes if one takes care of one's health. Today, we are honoring 6 of these people, as I said, and I now request Dr. V. Mohan to read the citation of Mr. K. Krishnaswamy and our Honorable Minister to virtually present the Victory Over Diabetes Medal to these awardees. Thank you.
I will read the citation, sir, but for the Minister, we'll be showing you virtually giving it, being a virtual function. So first, I'll read the citation, short citation of Mr. K. Krishnaswamy. You can see him on the screen now. So Mr. K. Krishnaswamy is 86 years young. He is a young man from Chennai, only 86 years old, and he has worked at the British Council for over 30 years. He has also worked in the Reserve Bank of India and also earlier and later as a director in the Mayotte in the late 90s. Mr. Krishnaswamy has diabetes for 70 years, 70. So he's the first person I have seen personally, although I know of one more now, who has crossed 70 years of diabetes. He was diagnosed as having type 1 diabetes age of 16 in the year 1951, 3 years before I was born. He was put on insulin injections right from the onset of diabetes. And I would like to mention one thing about Mr. Krishnaswamy. When he completed his term at the British Council, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth awarded the title of MBE, Member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, on Mr. Krishnaswamy. And Her Majesty made a comment that I have given many MBEs before, but it's the first time I'm giving it to a couple, and that too from India, where because he and his wife both worked at the British Council and both of them received the award at the same time. So we're very, very proud of you. He has a little bit of ischemic heart disease and few minor problems, but otherwise he's as fit as a fiddle, and now he's among us celebrating his victory over diabetes. So let's play a little video showing the award. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. Krishnaswamy. Can you say a couple of words, a very brief response?
Thank you, Doctor. Just as well you give us really just a word or two. The way in which you have honored people like us has been very encouraging and very heartening that people of your eminence encouraging patients like me, and it makes it worthwhile for us to carry on with good habits and such. Thank you. Get a bit emotional.
I can understand.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krishnaswamy. Thank you so much. I'm sure we'll have more occasions where you can actually, all these 5 awardees I'm planning to bring together, and you should talk to some young children with type 1 diabetes. That's the next thing on my mind. Thank you, Mr. Prasanna.
So we now move on to the next awardee. I have the award will be given by Ms. Cheryl. So first I'll introduce her. I have great pleasure in introducing Ms. Cheryl Salis. She is registered dietitian, a certified diabetes educator, insulin pump specialist, and sports nutritionist from Mumbai. Her special interest is in the field of type 1 diabetes. I now request Ms. Cheryl to read the citation for Ms. Meena Fernandez from Mumbai.
Thank you, Pradeepa, for that introduction. Good evening, Honorable Minister, respected dignitaries, seniors, awardees, and friends. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce Ms. Meena Fernandez from Mumbai. She's 72 years young and is winning over diabetes for the last 62 years now. She was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in the year 1960 at the age of 10 years. She was taken to a family physician by her grandmother, who was a nurse, and later to Dr. Tibrewala, who started her on insulin. Initially, it was tough, but the constant moral support from the family helped her accept her condition. Her life was transformed for the better after meeting Dr. V.S. Gaunkar, who managed her thereafter. Her diabetes control and complication-free life can be attributed to a healthy lifestyle, balanced diet, physical activity, timely insulin injections, and regular self-monitoring of blood glucose. Mrs. Fernandez is also an active member of the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, that is JDF Mumbai, and is a role model for all children with type 1 diabetes. She's living happily with her husband, a son, daughter-in-law, grandchildren, and has no diabetes-related complication. Welcome, Mrs. Meena Fernandez, and you are truly an inspiration to all of us. I request Honorable Minister to hand over the citation. Meena Auntie, I request you to say a few words.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh, for this award. A big thank you to Dr. Mohan for this honor and recognition. I have a few people to thank to for helping me to be what I am today. I first thank God for all His blessings on me for the past 62 years of my life. In these 60 years that have mattered to me the most in my journey are my grandmother, who was a nurse and helped me to take care of myself with my diabetes. Then was Dr. Dirwani, my first doctor, and after that was Dr. V.S. Gaunkar, who was my big support in my life for the past 40 years. And I also want to big thank you to Dr. Anushi Mehta, who is treating me like her own daughter today, like my own daughter today. And a big thank you to all the members, family members of the JDF, and all the doctors who have always encouraged me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we now move on to the next awardee. I now request Dr. V. Mohan to read the citation for Mr. SRV Prasanna from Coimbatore.
Thank you, Pradeepa. Mr. Prasanna is a 64 young professional photographer from Coimbatore. Earlier, he was a medical representative as well. Mr. Prasanna was diagnosed to have type 1 diabetes at the age of 3 in the year 1959. He now has diabetes of 61 years duration and has been treated by us at our center for the last 40 years or so. Earlier, he was under the care of my father, Professor M. Vishwanathan, and later Dr. S. M. Muniratnam Chetty from Coimbatore. He was started on insulin straight away, He is a wonder man who has no complications of diabetes. He is blessed with a daughter and 2 grandchildren. So over to Prasanna for a very, very short acceptance speech.
Good evening to everyone. I'm Prasanna. I have been a diabetic from the age of 3 and I am now 65 years old. I'm 65 years young. My friends and my mother, my brothers, everyone has been looking after me so well. And from the age of 25, my wife, who is just behind me, has been looking after me so well without even sleeping properly. Okay, and from the age of 15, as Dr. Mohan said, I was under the care and consultation of Dr. Muniratnam Chetty, and from the age of 20, Dr. Mohan and Dr. Viswanathan's father, I was under Dr. Viswanathan further. Subsequently, I became and I became the patient or looking at Dr. Mohan was looking after me so well, and the education, the way in which I should look after diabetes, his team had been giving me so well that I have been very good in my taking care of my diabetes. I'm extremely thankful to all the dignitaries on the stage and to Dr. Mohan and to Dr. Jitendra Singh, who has been a diabetologist. I'm proud to be happy to receive an award from a diabetologist who has been, who is going to award me on this occasion. Thank you so much to everyone.
Thank you.
I would like to
inform my fellow diabetics type 1 to take care of themselves with, as Dr. Mohan said, they should look after themselves.
Thank you. Thank you, Prasanna.
Thank you. So we next move on to the next awardee. I have immense pleasure in introducing Mr. Harsh Kohli, who will be reading the citation. The co-founder and president of Diabetes India Youth in Action, DIA. He has been living with type 1 diabetes over the past 28 years. I now request Mr. Harsh Kohli to read the citation for Ms. Usha Deman from Delhi.
A very good evening to Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh, and a very warm good evening to all the dignitaries present in the awards function. Thank you, Dr. Moon, for this wonderful event. Miss Usha Deman is a 68-year-old lady who retired from the US Embassy and stays in New Delhi. She was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 7 years in the year 1960, while she was living in a small town in Kenya, where she was put on bovine and later on porcine insulin. She has now had diabetes for 61 years. In 1966, she moved to Mumbai at the age of 12 years, where she had to face huge hurdles of severe hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia. Thus, she had to go through multiple hospitalizations, which led to depression. In the year 1974, she moved to Delhi, where she was treated for her brittle diabetes by Professor MMS Ahuja and later by Dr. SS Srikanta. Through their proper guidance and diabetes education, she overcome her depression and gained self-confidence. She's a single woman who's dedicated her life to building her career, making her financially independent to meet all her expenses. She has no diabetes-related complications. May now request Usha ma'am to please say a few words. Thank you.
Sushal?
Ms. Usha, please can you unmute?
Lost her. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Go on.
So I now request Mr. Harsh Kohli to read the citation for Mr. Rajiv Kaiker from Delhi.
I'll say hello.
Yes. Usha, we didn't see you. Where are you?
I'm here.
Can you? Sorry.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Harsh, for the nice citation. I would like to thank the Honorable Minister and Dr. Mohan for this great honor, and also all the dignitaries present here. On this occasion, I would like to pay homage to Dr. M.M.S. Ahuja, who was a father figure and a mentor to me. And after that, Dr. I.S.S. Shrikanta, who was still guiding me, and he presented me a gold medal on completion of 50 years with diabetes. I thank Dr. R.S.K. Sinha, who's guiding me for thyroid and all the doctors in AIMS, Dr. Anjana Khan, who's a great human being and a great doctor, and is always there for me. I would like to thank my family who is always standing by me and has not discouraged me from doing whatever I wanted to do. I thank my dear family. I thank my JDS friends. I thank all my friends and doctors of AIMS everywhere, and Dr. Mohan, whoever have guided me and touched my life. I also wish to thank God, who has, despite all these problems, kept me completely complication free. I have one appeal that diabetes sees no barriers. It can happen to anybody, and insulin is the only treatment, and the cost of insulin keeps escalating every now and then. Everybody just can't afford it. It's a cause of concern. I would want the diabetes should be accessible and affordable for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. Thank you. Rajiv?
Mr. Rajiv Kaiker is a 64-year-old retired chartered accountant from Delhi. Mr. Rajiv Kaiker has had diabetes for 60 years. He was diagnosed as having type 1 diabetes at the age of 4 years in the year 1961. In the earlier years, he used to do only urine sugar test using Benedict solution. He was initially started on once daily insulin and later for some time was on twice daily insulin and now on 3 insulin injections a day. He was treated by Professor M.M.S. Ahuja and later treated by Dr. Lata at Sitaram Bhartiya Hospital. As an individual with type 1 diabetes, he has been on insulin regularly and has always kept his HbA1c levels between 6 and 7%. Except for mild diabetic retinopathy, which was detected in the year 1988, he has no other diabetes-related complications. Now, he set up his own consultation for the past 9 years and lives a successful life with his wife, son, daughter, and their grandson. Thank you.
I now request our Honorable Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh, to virtually present the medal to Rajiv Kaiker. May I now request Mr. Rajiv Kaiker to say a few words?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor to receive the prestigious Dr. V. Mohan Victory Over Diabetes Medal from respective Dr. Jitendra Singh, Honorable Union Minister of State, Government of India, and the chief guest of today's function in the presence of this august gathering. My grateful thanks to Dr. V. Mohan's Diabetes Specialities Center and the Madras Diabetes Research Foundation for conferring on me the award for completing 60 years with type 1 diabetes. By divine grace, discovery of insulin and the continuous support of my family members, doctors, and friends, I have been able to lead a fruitful life. People with type 1 diabetes often encounter challenges which are difficult to handle. Here, our inner strength, awareness, and discipline play a vital role in overcoming them. The awards are a testimony to the quest for conquering diabetes. It's a blessing and good fortune for me to receive this honor. Let us stay strong and healthy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. I now request Mr. Harsh Kohli to read the citation for Mr. Rakesh from Gurgaon.
Mr. Rakesh is 69 years old and from Gurgaon. Mr. Rakesh was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 8 years in the year 1960. He has now had diabetes for 61 years. He was initially treated with only plain insulin and later with pre-mixed insulin. For the last 7 years, he has been on multiple daily doses of insulin. Though he has witnessed diabetes in its most dreadful form, his determination has helped him to stay fit through physical activity, strict diet control, regular monitoring of sugars, and most importantly, his mental strength. Despite developing a few complications, he is doing very well even after 60 years of diabetes.
Thank you, sir. I now request the Honorable Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh, to virtually present the award to Mr. Rakesh. I kindly request Ms. Kanika to say a few words on behalf of Mr. Rakesh.
Good evening, everyone. It is an honor for me to be accepting this award on behalf of my uncle. He's not able to attend this digital function today, but he has sent me his thoughts and he wants me to share them with you. So in his own words, I quote, "It is a coincidence that today is my late father's death anniversary, and I truly believe it is with his blessings that today I'm sharing my journey with you. My diagnosis was done by Dr. Gan in Nagpur, and at the time my age was 8.5 years. This condition was definitely stressful for me as the needles in those days were not as fine as they are now. And it was equally painful for my parents to see me go through this ordeal every single day. Gradually, I got over my fear, and my parents could gather the courage to deal with this situation. I'm very grateful to all those doctors, to the inventor of insulin, and I'm grateful for insulin itself, without which I strongly feel life could have been very difficult. Or I don't think I would be talking to you today. In the initial days, we were advised to try different things, and we were told many remedies which claimed to have cured diabetes permanently. I'm happy my parents did not fall for such things and trusted only insulin, did not stop it even for a single day. So it is my sincere suggestion to all the diabetics and their parents to trust insulin completely and never stop it unless advised by your treating endocrinologist or diabetologist. After 61 years of diabetes, I'm leading a better life than many non-diabetics. As I learned early on, the value of disciplined life, right food habits, and exercise. I would like to share that I was passionate about sports and got full support from my parents and was the captain of college basketball and table tennis.
Thank you, Kanika. I think in the interest of time, we will share the rest of the details to the audience. Okay. Thank you so much for joining.
Next
Can you show the fifth one and then
Yes.
move on to the next award because Minister has to leave. So this is the fifth person who the seventh awardee, but I'm not, we are not giving the award to him today, but probably he is the oldest surviving in India. We'll probably know after the function when we hear the feedback from others, but he is Mr. H.M. Sawane from Nagpur. He's 86 years old and has type 1 diabetes for 74 years. So same age as Mr. Krishnaswamy, but diabetes is even longer. And the Dream Press has already awarded him one medal a few years ago. And this was referred by Dr. Sharat Panse, and we'll follow up with him also. Now let's move on to the next award.
Yes.
There is only one person, and then after that, the minister will give his speech.
We now move on to the presentation of DMDSC Type 1 Hero Award. I request Dr. R. Manjuna to say a few words about the award.
Thank you, Pradeepa. The DMDSC Type 1 Diabetes Hero Award is a special award created to honor somebody with type 1 diabetes who has shown extraordinary courage and fortitude or has achieved something outstanding despite having type 1. This year, we are awarding this to Mr. V. Lakshmi Narayana. I now request Mr. Prasanna to read the citation of Mr. Lakshmi Narayana and our Honorable Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh, to present the award virtually. Thank you.
Prashant Mani, few words about Prashant Mani, Pradeepa.
Yes, sir. I have great pleasure in introducing Mr. Prashant Mani, who has been living with type 1 diabetes for the last 23 years. He is the founder, president of Tamil Nadu Type 1 Diabetes Foundation and is the General Secretary of Type 1 Diabetes Foundation of India. He is a certified diabetes educator, helping type 1 diabetic individuals across India. I now request Mr. Prashant Mani to read the citation.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So we have come to the man of the moment. Lakshmi Narayana is from Anantapur, Andhra Pradesh. He was visually challenged from birth, and at the age of 17, he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. He has not only overcome his own multiple challenges, he is a certified diabetes educator himself and plays a very important role in mentoring other children with type 1 diabetes. He checks his blood sugars using a voice-activated glucometer and takes his injections hearing the number of clicks in an insulin pen. He's totally independent and travels alone without assistance to attend T1 camps in various cities across India. He works in a software testing company and he has also trained more than 500 visually challenged people like him. This award is not just for the challenges he has overcome, but for the great work he has been doing for our T1 community with passion. Lakshmi, as we all fondly call him, is a very humble and inspiring personality who motivates not just T1s like me, but even great personalities like Dr. Mohan himself. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you this year's DMDSC Type 1 Diabetes Hero Award to the most loved Type 1 in India, Mr. Lakshmi Narayana.
I now request the Honorable Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh, to present the award to Ms. Lakshmi Narayana. I request Mr. Lakshmi Narayana to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Minister Jitendra Singh. I'm very happy and thank you, Dr. Mohan and others. So I'm very happy because I'm receiving award in this young age itself. This encourages me to do much more for the type 1 diabetes community. Basically, I treat two of my challenges as way of life instead of problems like that. So I just treat them as way of life. Sweet Souls and other organizations in the country encouraged me to do good for the community. Volunteering has been a passion since my childhood, and with all the type 1 families, with all the love and affection, I'm able to do this. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I now request our chief guest, Dr. Jitendra Singh, Honorable Union Minister, to address the gathering.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. At the outset, I have to congratulate Dr. V. Mohan for this unique initiative, which I am sure is the first of its kind. It will go down in the history of diabetes. And I also have to thank him for recalling and reiterating my Chennai connection, but I think he was too modest not to recall and reiterate my connection with the Stanley and also with the Vishwanath family. I have had the privilege of being associated with the three generations, Professor M. Vishwanathan and Dr. V. Mohan and now Dr. Anjana. It gives me a great pleasure seeing the legacy that the family has led in the field of diabetology in India, being so beautifully cultivated and carried forward. Also, our friend Dr. Sheshank Joshi, as was being rightly mentioned by Dr. V. Mohan, that there's no association or organization left for which you can appoint him a president. Usually, most of us spend a lifetime to become president. He's already exhausted the organizations before the organizations could exhaust him. Having started at a very early stage, he's been a prodigal prodigal colleague. Professor Ashok Das, I am too humble to say anything about him. He's been our senior, our mentor, our guide for many years. And always, when we looked forward to or looked up to JIPMER, it was none other name than Dr. Ashok Das. He's not only been a great clinician, but also a great policy planner, having been associated with a number of programs initiated and instituted by the government of India at different points of time. Dr. Banshi Sabu is the one who I think runs faster than all of us, and therefore it is he that who inspires many of us. I also have to congratulate Dr. V. Mohan because as he's always been innovative, imaginative, a great visionary, a brilliant researcher, always ahead of time, for having chosen this program to commemorate the 100 years of insulin. I think there could have been nothing better or no better ceremony to actually commemorate that. And as was being mentioned by him, before insulin came in 1921, there was virtually no treatment for it. And our seniors used to tell us that many of the clinicians, in their own wisdom, would inadvertently or advertently advise the patient to starve, and the patient would starve to death because they thought less intake would lead to lesser levels of blood glucose levels, rightly or wrongly so, because there was hardly any knowledge about it. And therefore, this was, I think, one of the greatest discoveries that the world knew, after which I think the only other discovery was that of penicillin somewhere around late 1940s. And yes, I have to also compliment you for a very informative write-up in the Hindu, which I had the delight of circulating all the social handles possible, and it has been very well received. The contribution of or through this program also is multifaceted in the sense that, as we know, and before that, of course, I should have mentioned that Dr. Banshi's name is fast getting identified with type 1 diabetes. Not that he has one, but as one who's a crusader for that. So that thought suddenly occurred to me when we know that we have nearly now 95,000 type 1 diabetic patients in the country. So incidentally, what has happened is that most of the time and energy has been occupied with the management of type 2 diabetes mellitus by the sheer strength of the numbers. And that is the main quantum load of clinical medicine. And here you have, by organizing this program, in fact, through a single initiative, proved many things, which I'm sure will be taken well and will be understood by the medical world as well as the society at large. For example, the longevity part of it. Usually we emphasize the aspect of longevity in the management of type 2 diabetes mellitus, hardly in the case of type 1 diabetes mellitus, because I said that never enjoyed a priority in our management regimens. But nevertheless, I now recall way back, as you said, because Madras has been the hub of diabetes research. It all began from Chennai, which was then known as Madras, and even Professor M.M. Sahuja, who was there, our teacher in All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi, was known as Madrasi Ahuja. because he came from the same gang of Professor Vishwanathan, Sam Moses, and so yeah. And he initiated this diabetes research even in Delhi. Otherwise, North India was not much exposed either to the challenge of diabetes mellitus quantitatively, or even the research was not given a priority. And I recall some of his colleagues in the medicine, in the Department of Medicine at that time, who included even Dr. Guleria, and we had Dr. Pathania. Dr. Guleria, incidentally, the father of our present director, Dr. Randeep Guleria's father, was also there as a professor of medicine in the AIMS around the same time, contemporary of Professor Ahuja. He's still around and alive. So he would take pleasure in sometimes saying that he would sometimes take pride in saying that once a patient is detected as diabetes, he lives longer than others. So that was a one-liner inference that he had drawn. That if you get diabetes, you are then destined to live a long life. But I think that also comes from the scientific understanding, which sometimes we have been going around saying very fancifully, that the diabetic who knows the most lives the longest. And I think that point has been proved today's ceremony. All the 4 or 5 friends who have lived 80 years, 70 years, 60 years have actually known diabetes so well that they have actually tamed the problem, and they have proved the scientific dictum that the one of the basics of managing diabetes is to understand its dynamics.
सुबह 9:30 की फ्लाइट लेनी पड़ेगी मुझे.
And therefore, at a time when the average lifespan of an Indian is just about 60 years of age or so, you have proved the point that we could have a type 1 diabetic living up to the age of 80 or even more.
Hello?
And therefore, I also have to congratulate all the recipients of this first ever instituted award by the name Dr. V. Mohan's Victory Over Diabetes Medal Award. And as I said, Dr. V. Mohan, as the chairman of the Dr. Mohan's Diabetes Specialty Center and also head of the Dr. Mohan's group of institutions, has always been in the lead in taking new initiatives. I'm sure this is an initiative which is going to be emulated at different places as well, because this has a relevance not only as far as the community of diabetics or type 1 diabetes is concerned, but also a huge message for the society at large and the policy planners also. And particularly coming at a time when lot many things are happening and lot many things are being said about the potential risk of mucormycosis affecting young children who are known diabetics. And there are certain studies saying that the mucormycosis happens in the background of patients who are more than 60% times known diabetics. So, though I will not get into that, because I have been telling around my colleagues even in Delhi that please don't talk too much about third wave, because we don't know whether it will come or not. But by talking, you are, in fact, I had the cheek to call up one of the very good friends whom all of us know. He did a write-up and sent it to me, and the title of the write-up was "Third Wave Will Cause a Lot of Mortality." So he thought I would send him a compliment, but immediately I picked up the phone. I said, "Doc, why did you have to write that? All of us know it." I said, the title itself is very alarming and very frightening, and we don't know. You know, it's something like saying that two world wars have happened. If third happens, nobody will survive. So all of us have been hearing this story since we were born, that if third world war takes place, world will be perished. But we have lived our lives and we didn't see third world happening. So it's like third wave also like that. So, but therefore not making much noise about or sounding alarmist about it, but at the same time being equipped with the research and development part of it, I'm glad that this initiative is also in that same direction, keeping in tune with the topical times that we are going through. Very recently, I have also been made in charge of science and technology, as was being mentioned by Dr. V. Mohan. Incidentally, we have not much of research going on. both in the Department of Biotechnology, also in CSIR. In fact, even before I was associated with this ministry about a year and a half back, I was associated with the research work going on remdesivir under the aegis of CSIR. And therefore, I think from the point of view of type 1 diabetes mellitus as well, we could contemplate certain projects, and I'd be glad to prompt the colleagues. We have some very senior scientists over there. Many of them are known to all of us in the CSIR, in the Department of Biotechnology, to collaborate with us, both clinically and otherwise, for some very meaningful futuristic research. And no better a team that we can have than one comprising Dr. V. Mohan, Dr. Ashok Das, Dr. Sheshank, and Dr. Banshi Sabu. And I'm sure very soon we could plan something on those lines, and I'd be happy to collaborate. Being there in Delhi, you can think you have your embassy opened up in Delhi, Dr. V. Mohan. You can always be in touch with me. So, having said that, I would wind up in that, because in webinar you don't know when to stop, when not to stop, when the connection is gone, whether you're being heard or not. So before that happens, thank you very much. Thanks once again for making me a part of it and remembering me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's very, very kind of you. We heard you loud and clear. Every word of yours came through. A little bit of disturbance was there in between. My apologies. But otherwise, everything came through very, very clearly. And thank you for offering your offices there. We really need it. We have heard you, and we will take up. Dr. Banshi Sabu is also working on through RSSDI, and we will all get together collaboratively to work together to do something on type 1 diabetes, and we'll present a project to you, because I think these children who are now listening will be just asking, insulin is fine, saved our life. What next? When are you going to cure us? That is the next question which is coming. So whether it is stem cells, or whether it's islet cell transplant, or pancreas transplant, or whatever, artificial pancreas or whatever, next steps we have to do. And we have to indigenize these, because otherwise it's too expensive. So thank you, sir. We have taken a lot of your time. We'll go on with your permission, we'll go on with the rest of the function, but I promised you I'll relieve you earlier. So thank you so much for joining. God bless. We'll now go on with the rest of the function.
Yes. I now request Dr. Mohan to read the message from Dr. Balram Bhargava, Director General, DHR and CMR.
Can you just put it up? Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm not going to read the whole message, but I've been getting messages from the who is who from all over India. And this one from Dr. Balram Bhargav, who's not only the Director General of the Indian Council of Medical Research, but also the Secretary to the Government of India, Department of Health Research, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Very, very important person. You've been seeing him in the news all the time after COVID came. So he says, I'm very happy to hear about this. And he wants to personally congratulate all the awardees. He said, I'm not able to join the function, but please congratulate all the awardees who have completed 6 decades with diabetes. And he says, I want to also congratulate Mr. Lakshminarayana for receiving Type 1 Diabetes Award, and finally to all the Type 1 Diabetes Ambassador Award. So thank you, Dr. Balram Bhargav. It's very, very kind of you, and we'll convey your messages to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We now move on to the presentation of DMDSC Type 1 Diabetes Ambassador Awards. To tell you more about the award and the awardees, I invite Dr. R. M. Anjana.
So hi once again. I'm back. So long we were talking about people with diabetes, but remember, all of these people have a huge support network around them, and there are so many people, their families, loved ones, friends, supporting them, helping them, taking them through this journey as they live with type 1. So we are now going to give a special award to foundations, charitable associations and NGOs in India, which were either started by those with type 1 or those interested in the welfare of type 1s and act as true ambassadors for those with type 1 diabetes. We have 34 associations receiving this award today, and I'm going to kind of quickly read. We have all of the 34. We have representatives here from all of them. Now, for want of time, we can't ask everybody to talk, but we're going to put up each of your names and associations and stuff that you've given us. So please, raise a hand or something when you are being called out. I now request our guests of honor, Dr. Shashank Joshi, Dr. Banshi Sabu, Dr. Ashok Kumar Das, Dr. Aspi Rani, and Dr. Mangesh Tavaskar to virtually present the DMDSC Type 1 Diabetes Ambassador Awards to all the ambassadors. Thank you.
Can play it.
The slides are coming up, sir.
Yeah.
The Type 1 Diabetes Ambassador Awards. The first one goes to the Association for Children with Type 1 Diabetes.
And you can say it's being announced in alphabetical order.
Yeah, so these awards are going in alphabetical order. There's no other particular given anything that's given importance. So we're going to start with the first one, which goes to the Association for Children with Type 1 Diabetes, Act 1D. Next slide, please. So this association, Mr. Ish Bajaj is the president. It's based in Chandigarh, and it aims to provide medication to underprivileged children living with type 1 and helps in spreading awareness about type 1 and educates people living with diabetes with 50 members. Congratulations to you. The next one is the Association of Diabetes in Tri-City, Aditi. Next slide, please. This is also based in Chandigarh with the founder, Dr. Sanjay Kumar Badada. This conducts regular diabetes education classes, provides insulin and other diabetes-related things to needy type 1s. Also does a lot of awareness with 2,000 members. Congratulations. The Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation. And this founder I do know even without the slide. Congrats, Ms. Nupur Lalwani. She's based in Mumbai. And this group has more than 3,000 members. They aim to educate, engage, empower, and create a safe space for people with diabetes. They work on awareness and advocacy. Congratulations. The Club 1 KEM is the next awardee with the founder director, Dr. C.S. Yajnik. Look at that lovely group photo there. This group is based in Pune. They have clinical care and consultations, patient education and engagement with 1,400 members. Congratulations. The Diabetes Awareness and You Uday Award. The award to this group goes to the president, Dr. Debashis Basu, based in Kolkata. They raise social awareness on diabetes and provide free cost or low cost solutions for disadvantaged social sections with 80 members. Congratulations. The Diabetes Awareness Foundation has received the next award with the founder, Dr. J.P. Mishra. They're based in Bihar and Delhi. They have 470 members and their activities include training, counseling, free products and support to manageable type 1s. Congratulations. Diabetes Fighters Trust, what a lovely name. The founder director is someone I know very well, Ms. Mridula Bhargava. That's a lovely picture there, Mridula. They're based in Ghaziabad. They create awareness about the types of diabetes in the general population. They support and develop tools to train patients and their caregivers, and they're 60 members strong. Congrats. The next awardee is the Diabetic Child Society, with the founder being Dr. A. Maithili. They're based in Vishakhapatnam. They empower children and parents about the management of diabetes. They provide services for type 1 children to reduce complications and improve their quality of life. They have 350 members currently. Congratulations. The Diabuddies of Himachal type 1s. So there are, I think, two founders here, Mr. Praduman Doru and Tej Ved Nair. They're based in Himachal, as you would have guessed from the name. They assess the burden of type 1 in slum areas, spread awareness, and cater to type 1 buddies who hesitate to be a part of the group. And they are 25 members strong. Congratulations. The Diabesties Foundation. Next slide, please. You're going to hear from this wonderful woman, Miss Jazz Sethi. She's based in Ahmedabad. They're working on a project for free insulin for over 500 kids in West India. They do individual sessions, meet up with kids, and work on empowering children. And they are 1,000+ strong. Congratulations, Jazz. The next awardee are Daya Buddies of Karnataka. The founder, Mr. Angad Chandok, organizes meetups, discussions, workshops, knowledge sharing, and general support to those with type 1s, and they have 250 members. Congratulations. The Diabetes India Youth in Action, DIA, what a beautiful name and a lovely picture there. The General Secretary is Dr. Apurva Gombar. They're based in Delhi. He set up youth diabetes leadership camps. Maybe that's one of those pictures from the camps. They have school awareness initiatives, evidence-based research, and they strengthen, empower, and improve access to affordable diabetes care. They have 350 members. Congratulations.
Raj Kohli is also associated with this.
Yes, okay. Wonderful, wonderful. The Diabetes Research Society, Hyderabad. And here we have a much loved professor, teacher, and doctor. The founder, Professor P.V. Rao, who's based in Hyderabad, aims to access more type 1s in AP and Telangana rural areas, creating awareness programs in Telugu media through videos and short films. We're very proud of your work, sir, and happy to see 700 people in this group. Congratulations. The Dream Trust is the next awardee. And the founders are Dr. Sharad Panse and Miss Seema. I think Miss Seema is here. They're based in Nagpur. They have 2,200 individuals. I know they do some fantastic work for children, follow them up for a whole lifetime, provide insulin, syringes, cartridge, pens, needles, educations, rural visit. I've actually had the opportunity to see this firsthand, and it's really amazing the work they do. Congratulations. The Friends Forever is our own group. So with the founder of Dr. V. Mohan, we are based in Chennai. We're a social support group for children with type 1 and their family members. We have
led by Thangamani.
Led by Thangamani, yeah, and many others. So we have monthly meetings with a team of professionals to oversee psychological issues that come up due to type 1. We have a special WhatsApp group that's called We Are One, and we're 2,500 members strong. The next one is Idayangal Charitable Trust. This is based in Coimbatore, and the founder is Dr. Krishnaswamy. They provide free insulin and pumps to deserving children and have established the Attitude Club for children with type 1. What a lovely name. And they are 300 members strong. Congratulations.
Also, one second before you go to the next, Dr. Krishnaswamy is probably one of the few charitable trusts which is actually giving out pumps. You know, pumps are very expensive. India has given hundreds of pumps to children with type 1 diabetes. I don't know of any other association in India or even abroad which gives out free pumps to people. Now he is extending his whole group to all the government hospitals in Tamil Nadu, district by district by district. So I think very soon he'll have a complete network all over Tamil Nadu. So Dr. Swaminathan, I'm sure he's here in the audience. So we are very proud of you, Dr. Krishnaswamy.
Thank you. The next awardee is Indians with type 1 diabetes kids. And the founders are Ms. Nidhi Saraf Agarwal, Pragya Verma, and Beenu Singh. They provide support to newly diagnosed parents in all possible ways. That's lovely. Conduct sessions on carb counting, basic management, and living with type 1 for 60+, as well as for couples. They are 450 members strong. Congratulations. The Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, Bhavnagar. Founder is late Mr. Prafulbhai Trivedi. They are based in Bhavnagar, Gujarat. They conduct annual eye checkup camps, basic tests for diabetes, online meetings, picnics, and gatherings for individuals with type 1. And they have 700 members. Congratulations. The Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, Jamnagar. The founder is Ramkilal Changani, and they are also based in Gujarat. They arrange medical camps, distribute insulin, syringes, strips, etc., do free treatment at cost, They get picnics and help to educate children. There are 450 of them in this group. Congratulations. The Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, Rajkot. Founder, Mr. Apul Doshi, based in Rajkot, Gujarat, regularly organizes educational camps, checkups for all the complications, free of cost, provides guidance for matrimonial matching services. Wow, congratulations with that. That's really, really good. And they have 1,450 members. The Juvenile Diabetic and Parents Association of India, President is Ms. Sarita Kulkarni, based in Nagpur. They do A1C assessing camps at least 3 times a year. They do a 2-day stay-in camp for education to juvenile diabetics and their parents by doctors, dietitians, psychiatrists for Nagpur and Mumbai. And there are 500 of them. Congratulations. The Juvenile Diabetics Parents Foundation, founder Mr. Sameer Patel and Savita Agarwal, based in Ahmedabad. There's a lot of them in Gujarat, I think. I've been reading so many from Gujarat right now. So they aim to give all individuals with type 1 training, support, management, and self-reliance. They provide insulin, sugar testing, and normal tries free of cost to poor families and help to create a matrimonial site. And they're 300 members strong. The Ludhiana Type 1 Diabuddies. The founder is Mr. Saurav Uppal, based in Punjab, conducts awareness and advocacy camps, organizes counseling for newly diagnosed type 1 families, and provides free of cost to families who cannot afford it. There's 250 of them. It's so heartening to see so many people helping those who can't afford it. The Society for Prevention and Awareness of Diabetes, SPAD. The president is Mr. S.R. Khatri, based in Kanpur. They do regular monthly education programs. They do awareness and teachers education program, picnics and fashion show. Wow, I would really love to attend that. And there's 900 of them. Congratulations. The Sweet Souls, what a lovely name. Founders are Mr. Ramesh Kidambi, Nalini Kidambi, and Dishna Kidambi. Okay, that's a whole family there, based in Telangana. Multiple educational sessions on nutrition and blood sugar management, several meetups and collaborative activities for children, and they're 500 members strong. Congratulations,
And
Sweet
Lakshmi
Souls.
Narayana is associated with that as well.
Wow, okay. I knew there had to be something really sweet there. The Tamil Nadu Type 1 Diabetes Foundation is up next. President, there you have him, Mr. Prashant Mani. You've met him before. He provides supplies and medicines to needy type 1s through donors, collaborates with hospitals and doctors to reach out and interact with type 1s, especially in rural areas, empowering these children and their families. And there are 200 of them in this organization. Congrats. The Type 1 Nawabin. Founder, again, Mr. Angad Chandok. You already met this man. He has 2 organizations. Okay, we already did one before, and this is the second one in UP. Organizes meetups, discussions, and workshops, knowledge sharing, and exports general support to those with type 1. They're just quite new, 20 members strong at the moment. Congratulations. The Type 1 Diabetes Foundation of India. The chairman, Mr. Naveen Kotege. Activities are empowering type 1's policy making, wonderful, lobbying with government and various other organizations to provide better health care, and they're 40 members strong. The Type 1 Diabetes Foundation of Kerala, and the president, Reverend Jeevan Jacob, we saw him a little before, based in Thiruvananthapuram, provides medicines and glucometer strips, educational scholarships, wonderful father, guidance and facilities to attend various online exams, free medical counseling for the needful, and they have 450 members at present. Congratulations. The Type 1 Diabetic Welfare Society, whose state president is Mr. T.R. Vijesh, also from Trivandrum, providing medical help for type 1 children, initiated the Sponsor a Diabetic Child program in Kerala and organizes camps and awareness programs, and they have 1,500 members. Congratulations. Type 1 Thriving. The coordinator is Ms. Sirisha Manta, provides diabetes education and mental health sessions to caretakers, activity-based informative sessions for quiz, cooking, yoga, art, physical activity, one-to-one interviews, and they are 8 members at the moment. The Udan Founder is Dr. Archana Sada, who is very much here, and I saw her clapping away before. Welcome, ma'am. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you, Archana. Thank you for joining us. You're a great inspiration for everyone.
Yes, you are. Based in Maharashtra, she supports underprivileged type 1s with insulin glucometers, investigations, and counseling free of cost, empowers families, and creates community awareness. And they have 900 members. Congratulations, Udan. The Uttarakhand Diabetes Awareness Initiative founder, Ms. Rekha Negi, provides counseling, virtual education on diabetes, individually and in groups. They provide community support where free glucometers and tests are provided to children from low economic families, and they have 80 members. Congratulations. The Yog Dhyan Foundation Chief Functionary is Mr. Anil Kumar Vedwal, who's based in Delhi. They have free educational and counseling, free distribution of supplies, nutritional and financial support to children with type 1. 300 members. Congratulations. And that's it. So congratulations to all the awardees for the wonderful, wonderful work that you are doing. We can't thank you enough to the difference you're making in the lives and families of these people with type 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anjana. I kindly request Ms. Jas Sethi to say a few words on behalf of the awardees.
Thank you. Namaste and good evening to everyone, all the dignitaries, guests of honors, and to everyone watching. On behalf of all the type 1 diabetes organizations, firstly, a heartfelt thank you to Dr. Mohan and his entire team for this great honor. In the diabetes community, we all talk about the type 1 diabetic voice and how all of us have this yearning to be heard. So Dr. Mohan, you not only have heard us, but you help in proliferating our stories. Thank you for the encouragement, for the support, for truly feeling bothered by our struggles. Thank you for hosting events like this that help raise the profile of type 1 diabetes in India. It's been absolutely inspirational. I can say on behalf of all of us here that we look forward to continuing this journey, working with you, and under your support and guidance, we can all work together to achieve a sustainable and meaningful impact in the lives of those with type 1, and hope that all those with type 1 live long and healthy lives and they all can receive your medal. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jas. That was nice and sweet. And one of the aims of bringing all of you all together is because togetherness is strength. And I will request Dr. Banshi also to join. We should write an article, Banshi, putting all this together. And we will take the help of Archana can join, and all of us can join together and say, this is what we have in India. And make a list of it and make it in a scientific article, which comes in PubMed or somewhere, so that the world will see. And besides that, people will know where to go. See, in Ludhiana, somebody will have type 1, they will not know that such an association is there. So I think we should invite all of them to be participants in that and write a scientific article and to why we need this and get help from all of you all. And that is my next dream, that we should get this out quite soon. And I'll be very closely working with all of you all to get this done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We now move on to the address by our guests of honor. I now invite Dr. Shashank Joshi to kindly address the gathering.
Thank you. I really want to thank Professor V. Mohan. He has been a mentor. He is Mohan for metabolism, Mohan for medicine, Mohan the mentor. And I think our hats off.
Very well said. Very well said, Sasan.
And our very close and near and dear friend, Professor Dr. Jitendra Singh is not with us, I think. But, he's always supported us in everything which we do. My good friend, Dr. Bansi Sabu, is like a brand champion of type 1 diabetes. He has taken it up with a lot of zeal, zest, and passion. And Rashok Kumar Das is always smiling and always effusive, full of warmth and love, always there with us 24/7. And my brother, Dr. Mangesh Tivaskar, is going to be the new leading light of API from the research zone. So first of all, my pranam to each and every person living with diabetes on planet Earth, whether they are type 1, whether they are type 2.
Also, Dr. Aspi Irani from your city.
Yeah, so I forgot Aspi. Sorry, Aspi. In this Zoom meeting, it's very difficult to recognize who's there and who's not there. So my
I agree with you. Sometimes we don't see and we don't know whether they're there or not. I was not sure whether you're there or not. I knew you were there, but I couldn't see you.
Yes. So it's a challenge. So ASPI will forgive me. ASPI has been a leading light for type 1 diabetes children in Nanavati Hospital and Juvenile Diabetes Foundation. We really miss Professor Ausgaonkar here when we talk this. And a couple of things I just wanted to say. That as I say my pranayam to all the living diabetes on planet Earth. You know, I wear one hat from IDF. And IDF wants to have a mission where we want to see people living with diabetes to have a full life with diabetes and living life with the fullest without complications. I think that's the first goal which they had. And we are trying to create a world free of diabetes without complications. A world without diabetes is an utopian idea as we talk today. But this is our spotlight on type 1 diabetes. And I congratulate Dr. Mohan, Anjana, Ranjit, and the whole team. They have been relentless in their pursuit. They have been relentless in their pursuit of science, education, research. But most important is that they have never lost the human touch. I call them that they have the hidden hand of blessings of Baba, which has always showered on them. And that's where this human touch to type 1 diabetes is very, very important. And I think Dr. Mohan, as I said, he's got his Mohan's mantras, which he told us. Now he wants to do a collaborative, and his idea of having a research paper of having all of the people who are there in the links and the network of type 1 diabetes in India. Where are we today in 2021 in type 1 diabetes in India? What is the quality of care? What are the standards of care? What are the associations taking care of these type 1 diabetics? What are the resources? What is happening in type 1 diabetes? I think he's really taken the lead. So we congratulate him for that. And there are many more people with type 1 diabetes beyond 50 years. In fact, I would also send you a list, Dr. Mohan. We know many of them. I have a person, I was just in touch with him just 5 minutes before a function called Jagdish Gandhi. He's been living in type 1 diabetes for about more than 67 years now. And he's had every complication of diabetes, and he has a great grandson. And, they have full of zest and zeal and enthusiasm. So I think, our focus is that we just not need medical care, but we need a lot of psychological care, spiritual care. In the WHO definition of health, it is physical, mental, social, and spiritual. And I think in type 1 diabetes, people living with type 1 diabetes, I salute to them, because them and their family members and near and dear ones really need to give them 24/7 attention. And the sacrifice they have to do, to overcome that is people are living with type 1 diabetes longer than normal people, I feel. And that's something which is very, very possible today in today's realm. And I think we are celebrating here 100 years of insulin discovery, which has changed the way life with type 1 diabetes is living today. And we have so much of huge technology today. I mean, we are in this COVIDized world, otherwise we would have all met physically, probably in Chennai for Dr. Mohan's meeting, and he could have had a one-day conclave in type 1 diabetes. But I wish next year, Dr. Mohan, you could call all of them. Hopefully, we'll be COVID-free by the time your conference will come up. And you could have a Thursday dedicated to type 1 diabetes. And IDF will be happy to support it, this whole conclave. And I would really feel that, they need to network, they need to interact, they need to talk. And I think they need to exchange ideas, because I think they are our true learners. I think whatever we have little learned in diabetes today is from our patients. And they have taught us from their relatives, from their family members. And we have learned our clinical pearls and practice pearls, which have eventually got collated into research and evidence through their journey. So my salute to all the people living with diabetes, particularly type 1 diabetes and their family members. I offer my pranam to all of them. And of course, to my guru, Professor V. Mohan, for at least thinking of me in all these difficult times. He has been relentlessly in his journey. We all follow you everywhere, and we are there always for you. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you, Stefan, so much. And your idea of having a separate meeting. In fact, I wanted the minister. When I called the minister and told him, sir, do you know that there are people living more than 60 years? He said, 60 years? Really? He said. Then he said, why don't you have it in Delhi or Chennai and I'll come, he said. I said, sir, it's very difficult to bring all them during COVID times, and many of them are older people. So, but we look forward to the day when we are able to do it. Pradeepa, carry on.
Thank you, sir. I now request Dr. Banshi Sabu to kindly say a few words.
Respected Dr. V. Mohan, sir, first of all, I am very much thankful and grateful that you involved me in this program. As you know, that type 1 diabetes, and whenever I talk about type 1, I become very emotional. And since last so many years, as I am working in the field of type 1 diabetes, being a president, my dream was that in India, the care for type 1 diabetes should increase and improve. Rather, before few days when we were talking about the long-term survival of type 1, you only told that, yes, there are patients who are surviving when more than 50 years. As I am practicing less than 22 years, so I don't have many, but still whatever I could contribute. But then you told that we will ride across the country and we will get the people from all across the country who are surviving more than 50 years. And then your dream came true and you have done wonderful program. I mean, I'm really feeling very happy to see that this is a wonderful program which we are doing. What we have done in last 1 year, creating a center of excellence with the support asking from the different pharmaceutical company, created 40 centers of excellence. Now already 1,500 patients are already been, they are now getting the insulin supply through the foundation from West John. The JS is helping us for Diabetes Foundation. With the support of Sanofi, now 1,500 children will be getting not only free insulin, there could be analog and even the glucose meter and strips, and not necessarily only from Sanofi. But one other great news which I want to share with all of you, that with the help of VOCAD, which they also agreed to give us the insulin glargine and their Vosulin R. And again, we, now 1,500 children in India, now they will be getting, and this time what I have done, each district coordinator, 500 district coordinator, and each district coordinator can take care of 3 child, and they can get the free insulin as well as the glucose meter and strips also. The one very important thing which I talked with the health minister in Gujarat, with Dr. Nitin Shah. Mr. Nitin Shah is not a doctor. And before some time, I was talking to Dr. Jitendra Singh to improve the care for type 1. What we should do actually in all medical colleges, all the tertiary care hospital, if there can be a dedicated type 1 clinic, even if it is running only once in a week, where a pediatrician or a physician or the endocrinologist or a diabetologist who is there, but they should have a dedicated a psychologist or a type 1 diabetic educator in that team. And if it can run only for once in a week, they can support these children like anything. Even the Gujarat government with all tertiary care hospital, they are giving free insulin. But the person who is giving insulin, he knows only insulin. He does not know what type of insulin he is giving. Sometimes he gives mix, sometimes pre-mix, sometimes basal, sometimes bolus. Today I had seen one patient who is on Lentus, human mixture, Actrapid and Levimir. 4 insulin he was having, and patient HbA1c is 11.5 because the child was getting the insulin which is free supply from civil hospital. So the problem is the education is not given. Even they are given the insulin, they are not given the glucose meter, they are not given the strips. But most important thing is not given is the education. So I mean, we all can improve under your guidance. We have Dr. A.K. Das, who is also the chairman for Changing Diabetes in Children. Shashank is IDF Southeast Asia chair. We have Dr. P.V. Rao, who is also very passionate about type 1, Dr. S.P. Rani, and my close friend, Dr. Archana Sada. So, all of them. And in my city only, nowadays I'm meeting Jays only on online, but physically we used to meet before some time to talk about more about type 1 diabetes. And the point is that how we can improve. So we should make some national-wide a program where we can help these children. There are many foundations. Today, actually, I was taking all photographs of different foundations. I know many of them, but many of them I don't know. Still, I will talk to you again that how we can help from the RSSDI. And we are the one who can talk to the industry people, because they are running the foundation. They may not get that access to get the some of the funds or the free insulin. I think we can help them for that also. So under this, in one platform, if we get all foundation together, we can definitely help them and we can get them better insulin. And most important thing, I think education, which we can provide. With these few words, again, once again, sir, thank you. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to be part of this program. Thank you, sir, once again.
Thank you, Banshi. I think the very idea of bringing them all together was that, first of all, people will not know which association is where. And I took the help of Prashant Mani and Harsh Kohli and Cheryl and many others to get, and of course, many of them I knew, but the others. So I think this may not be the only list. There may be others who are not even
Yes, we have many more, sir.
And as Shashank said, there'll be many more type 1s who are having more than 50 years. After I announced this function, I found 2 more. So there may be another 50 more. We don't know. So let us.
We wish, sir, everyone should be now more than 50 years.
Exactly. Finally, 50 should be nothing. That should be our aim and treatment.
They should have the normal life.
So the very idea of this function is multi-purpose, and I'm sure many things will come out of this. So on that note, over to Dr.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. Ashok Kumar Das to kindly address the gathering?
I think I will take over where our Honorable Minister and our very dear Bansi Bhai ended. I would like to mention my dear, very dear Mohan, Anjana, Pradeepa, and the entire group who organized this. My dear Sasak, Bansi, Ashwin, Mangesh, and all the dear friends who have joined today. I will tell you 3-4 things, very important issues to my mind. Number one, as Minister said, today we are looking forward full life despite type 1 diabetes. And it is possible, Mohan, you have shown today, it is possible, we'll achieve it. Full life despite type 1 diabetes. Number two, and as it showed and as the way we heard today, it has opened newer vistas in front of me, Mohan. He said he has taken 2 challenges as the way of life. Lakshnaran, I congratulate him. And today we know that type 1 diabetes is not an impediment, it's a way of life. This is what I would like to say to all the thousands and thousands who joined today. Take it as a way of life. Next, I must tell you that you can achieve in life if you have 3 things. The qualities of the head, heart, and hand. And you know whom I am meaning today, H, H, and H. Satsang mentioned about M, M, and M. And it is possible. All can be done if the divine touch is there. There is the Bhagavan touch, I will say without anything, which has made it possible. Mohan, I'll just let your faith grow, let your work grow, let your contribution grow limitless in the world. Dear friends, I must tell you where Minister ended also by saying that type 1 diabetes may not be a problem like type 2 diabetes in increasing numbers, Mohan. ASPI also has shown that. You have also shown that type 1 diabetes increases by 3 to 5% every year. And one statistic says there are at least 3 cases per 1,000 population in a year between 0 to 3 years. Correct? That paper came from some groups that we have. And also we know today that there's pre-diabetes in type 1 is very difficult to diagnose. Asmi, am I correct? You work in type 1 diabetes, Mohan, you know it, and we cannot intervene with the immune study and not just steroids or immune suppression. Anjana, maybe she will contribute in this field, but in our time, what is needed is to give optimal treatment. And for the optimal treatment, what is needed is what we discussed today, the insulin, and also rightly mentioned by many awardees, discipline and the lifestyle. And that is the emphasis this evening. Before I close, I just tell 2 things. Number one, Mohan, I must tell you, the idea that you have shown is very important. Bansi also has been speaking about long time. Dear friends, I chair the Changing Diabetes in Children for the last from 2009. I'm very emotional. It's almost 12 years. One jug makes 12 years. And I chair. It was inaugurated by no less a person than Abdul Kalam Azad. I'll send the photograph. And you know, we have today about 4,800, say 5,000 children whom we provide everything from syringe, needle, the insulin, insulin, their study till they're 21 years of age. At the age of 21, they quit the program. And all of you are associated with that, but Bansi is associated, PB Rao, Aspi, all of you are associated with that program. And we have shown this Archana is here, one of our best centers in the CDIC program. Dear friends, this is one of the examples of what can be done. And we are still getting the award. Today, probably it will be extended for another 3 years now. We have written to the authorities. We will be again providing new children. At the age of 21, one has to exit because he will find his own ways of getting the study, legal, insulin, and study books. But it's a program which we have tried to compile together. We had about 9 publications, Mohan, out of the CDIC program. And it has been shown that it's possible. Dear friends, before I conclude, I would like to say very important issues that the country which has not cared for its children can never ever progress. Am I correct? If 1947 we would have concentrated only on children or the newborns on the 47 monkeys, we would have been a different country today. So therefore, I like to say that like air, like light, and it is the insulin is a birthright of the children. All the citizens, whether it is Bansi Sabu, whether it is CDIC, whether it is what's called Insulin for Life, this Mohan's Foundation, all the children must strive to provide insulin to every needy children of type 1 diabetes. Is their birthright like air, light, and water. This is the words of my friend Ajad Khan from Bangladesh. So I will not try it further and will strive to establish type 1 diabetes as our focus in the years to come. Thank you, Mohan, very much for showing great and new way to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashok. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I now request Dr. Aspi Irani to say a few words.
Compliment to Dr. Great initiative. I think it was long overdue. I am here as a representative of the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation Maharashtra chapter. The Juvenile Diabetes Foundation Maharashtra chapter was the brainchild of Dr. V.S. Ajgaonkar, a noted diabetologist from Mumbai. I remember it was in the year 1980 when I had just passed my post-graduation that he invited me to partner him in his life mission and passion. And what was that? To improve the condition of children and adolescents with type 1 diabetes. And his enthusiasm was really, really very contagious. You know what was the scenario at that time in 1980 when he asked me to join him? Well, it was very, very depressing. Was being prescribed. Insulin was even being supplied free to many patients, right? And this ensured that the patients survived. But what was the quality of survival? Very, very, very dismal. A majority of them, I remember when I joined as an honorary at the Raja Hospital, a majority of the patients were very poorly controlled, repeated severe hypo, some of them labeled as epileptics, repeated diabetic coma, ketoacidosis, stunted in growth, early complications of diabetes, retinopathy, nephropathy, neuropathy. But not only that, they were very, very unhappy, extremely resentful. Why has it happened to me? And they felt they had no future, which is why they were not interested, they, in the sense, the parents, in doing anything for the children. So this is when Dr. Ajgaonkar felt that you have to have a pediatrician with interest in diabetology, but more important, you need to have a psychiatrist. And Dr. Anand Nadkarni was made a part of the team, and then we founded the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation against this backdrop with 2 aims in mind. Number 1, education. Not just education. The education had to be intensive. It had to be practical. Not you do this. How do you do it? How do you integrate it into your lifestyle? And the education had to be ongoing. Second, and perhaps not second, this should be first, counseling. A patient may know everything. We have residential camps for 3 days, at the end of which we have a quiz. There are parents in the quiz contest, but their children are so poorly controlled. They know everything, they don't do it. So what is more important and what needs a lot of stress is counseling. Every team, every group must have a mental health team. And this will help to create a positive attitude, accepting that I have diabetes, improve their self-esteem. Let them know, and this is a fact, that they can lead a full life and they can lead a normal life. They can do everything before they got diabetes. They can do everything that they aspire to do after they have got diabetes. We have to give them genuine hopes. And how do you do it? By having a group which has senior juvenile diabetics, now 30 years into diabetes, 40 years, and doing very well. They are excellent role models. So our aim was counseling first, prepare the mind to receive the education, then provide the education, and then tell them how to implement that education. All these have to be done. Now, this could not be done in a clinic. This cannot be done with a prescription. You need a team and you need time. So we started with a weekly comprehensive care clinic, and then team-based meetings every month, one-day educational camps. And in 1983, we started an activity for the first time in India, and which has continued till coronavirus came last year. And that is a 3 to 4 day residential camp where we have almost 200 patients with type 1 diabetes staying with the medical team. All the days, we interact, we live as a family, we teach them, we counsel them. And the joy that we experience today when we see that our Juvenile Diabetes Foundation is conducted by 2 doctors who are childhood diabetics. One of them was Dr. Mohan's student, Dr. Anushri. So what is important, I feel, is yes, give free insulin, give free strips, but educate the patient, teach them how to integrate it in their lifestyle, and give them a lot of counseling so that they know that what they do for the child will bear fruit in future. Thank you.
Pradeepa?
Yes, sir.
We can request Dr. Mangesh Sivaskar to say.
Okay.
Mangesh, it's over to you.
Yeah, thank you. In almost evening times, good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for this golden opportunity. Now, Dr. Mohan sir, Dr. Anjana, Shashank, Ekeda sir, Banshi, and all, and good evening, friends. Everything has been said and talked. Everybody has spoken their hearts out, and I'm sure that everybody are so motivated to listen to you all, to see the story which has been started by Dr. Mohan sir. We have always witnessed probably Jocelyn Diabetes Center doing this victory medal, and I would like to heartily congratulate Mohan sir for being the first one to bring this idea on the platform of this August day where insulin celebrates its 100 years. Congratulations, sir. And of course, taking a cue from Shashank's, I would say, deliberation when we had probably that now as other associations, including your own DMDSC, they are having these contributions on the social cause. I promise you, being a Secretary of Association of India, in my presence of all our past presidents like Dr. Ashok Kumar Das and Dr. Shashank, I promise you that API will also have some social cause, and this has been already a thought which has been under process. And as these children are going to grow up, they definitely keep on getting a support from all those NGOs and all that. But I promise that as they enter their adult medicine, being an adult medicine association, I promise you that we would definitely contribute to the cause which has been led by all of you, including Dr. Asfi. Your job, along with the rest of the team of Juvenile Diabetes of Maharashtra Foundation, I am witness to it. I have been seeing Dr. Dalal, Dr. Archana, who is here. She's been already contributing to this Maharashtra cause of serving type 1 diabetic children very well. So I appreciate your efforts, sir, and thank you for making me a part of the beautiful article that you wrote. It has been wonderful. I was mesmerized to read the whole. I request every one of you to see the amount of hard work that Dr. Mohan and Dr. Anjana has put put behind this, creating that beautiful. We have been reading the discovery of insulin. We have read, all of us know about Penting and Best, but who talked about Dr. J.P. Bose? Who talked about all these giants that have been really, and it was so wonderful to know that 1923 was a day where, it was the year when the insulin was, actually been there in India. Nobody talked about it. So thank you very much. It was hearty to really listen to all of those people, those who have been here. I appreciate all the type 1 diabetes, those who received medals today. My salutes to them, my humble bows to them, because you have led a new life, the new way of thinking for all of us. And thank you very much to our Honorable Minister for guiding us. And I wish you all the best. And if at all, we being the society are of any use to you, sir, Mohan sir and Dr. Anjana, I'm more than sure that Pranav is also going to continue this legacy that has been started from your father, sir. I'm more than sure we would be very happy to contribute our small little bit. In Marathi we used to say "Kharicha vata." When Ram built that Setu, a squirrel came to say that, shall I help something, and to cross to Lanka, and said that, what are you going to do? So he said that, okay, I'll have my own small contribution. So similarly, we would be very happy to contribute to your great cause. Thank you very much. Stay happy, stay safe, and thank you for making me a part of an entire beautiful symposium. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mangesh. And the article I was referring to was the history of diabetes article, which I just showed. Since the minister, was in a hurry, I didn't want to spend too much time. It'll be out in this issue of JAPI, probably on 31st July or 1st August. It'll be out. I request all the doctors to read that article, because you should read what our forefathers did, and I become very emotional when I think about that. The other thing that I want to tell you is that the Outlook magazine has focused on 100th year of insulin. And I think that issue has already come up. I think it'll reach the stands tomorrow or day after tomorrow. You should be able to pick it up. So please do that, and we'll see what they have written. I don't know what exactly is written, but there's something in the Outlook magazine. And I heard that the Week magazine is also planning to bring out a special issue on 100th year of insulin. So I think a lot of attention to type 1 diabetes is coming. And on that note, we have a lot of press people here. I don't know, it's late, and some of them I can still see around. If you want to ask questions, you can either type in the chat box, or very quickly we can have a few questions if any of you have before we go to the vote of thanks and the national anthem. So anybody, you can unmute, and we'll unmute everybody now. If anybody wants to ask questions to the press, please ask. Introduce yourself and you can ask.
I'm Usha Kumar. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
I wanted to know, is it a better idea to be on multiple insulin regime or apart?
Usha, I don't think there is any, of course the pump gives you smoothness of control. But, if you look at the 5 of you or 6 of you who have now lived to tell the tale, and you've finished 60, 70 years, none of you have been on the pump, and still you have lived to tell the tale. So the pump is definitely good. Technology is excellent, and I'm sure Jazz and Nupur and all the others here will vouchsafe for that. And it definitely, in a certain group of type 1 diabetes, there's a lot of fluctuations, brittle diabetes going up and down. The pump will smoothen it out. And today we have the artificial pancreas also coming with inbuilt closed loop system. So that makes it very, very easy. But it is not needed for every person with type 1 diabetes. And for those who need it, and if you can afford it, it's very good. And that's why I was hinting to the minister that in India, we have to make these pumps. We can make a nano car for 1 lakh, 2 lakh. Why should a pump cost 4 lakhs and 5 lakhs? It's like buying three cars. Is it so complicated, the small damn thing which you put on your thing? You should make it for 10,000 rupees if you ask me, a pump, and everybody should be able to afford it. So that's where I think Indian engineers now, the next thing will be to bring all the engineers together and bring all other people together and find out what is it need, and make it affordable to the Indian community.
Are you saying the
They
night?
can use that. So thank you for the question.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Any questions? Anyone?
Watch this. Less than that.
Please go ahead. Anyone wants to?
Yeah, you know, one more thing Awardee used to do? She used to wear Akash's jacket and come and be like, so that's her boyfriend. Well, so, but why would she come in my face?
I get
It doesn't look like there are any other questions coming. So in that case, shall we go to the vote of thanks?
Yes.
Pradeepa, you can vote of thanks. Yeah.
Coming. I call upon Dr. Gopal Menon, Chief Operating Officer, Dr. Mohan's Diabetes Specialty Center, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening. Respected dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to propose the vote of thanks on this special occasion. On behalf of management and staff of the Dr. Mohan's Group of Diabetes Institutions, I would like to express our gratitude to Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh for accepting our invitation to present the Dr. V. Mohan Victory Over Diabetes Awards to the achievers, despite his very busy schedule. I would also like to place on record our sincere appreciation and thanks to our guests of honor, Dr. Banshi Sahu, Dr. Shashank Joshi, Dr. Ashok Kumar Das, Dr. Aspi Irani, and Dr. Mangesh Tewaskar for participating in our award function and making it a grand success. Our heartfelt thanks to the 6 extraordinary individuals who have defeated diabetes for over 6 decades. Mr. K. Krishnaswamy, Ms. Meena Fernandez, Mr. S.R. Prasanna, Ms. Usha Dhiman, Mr. Rajiv Kaiker, and Mr. Rakesh for joining us today on this special occasion, and also to Ms. Cheryl Salis and Mr. Harish Kohli for all their help. Our special thanks to Mr. Lakshmi Narayan for accepting our invitation and participating in this special occasion, and a special thanks to Mr. Prashant Mani. We thank all our diabetes ambassadors who have been with us today. Their presence is a great source of motivation to us. A special word of thanks to the press and media for covering this function. We thank the members of the medical profession, scientists, patients, and well-wishers, and all the staff of Dr. Mohan's Group of Diabetes Institutions, the press and media, and one and all of you for your participation and making this function a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think there's one question from the press which has come from the press. So how did you go about identifying these 5 or 6 people? A very, very good question. What I did was, and many of you will remember, that we have group, thanks to Banshi, who has created this network of RSS DI, all over the country. I wrote a letter, actually, to all the executive committee members of RSSDI and to every address that you could think of, and also personally identified people who have big practices in different parts of the country, and said, I know of Prasanna was my patient, and I also reached out to all my friends and to others and said, I am trying to find out who are I'm writing an article, and I have a few. 40 years I have quite a few. In fact, 50 we have 12. But 60 and 50 we already given a medal some time back, a few years ago. Prasanna has received it. So I said 60 something we are reaching out, and 70 I've not heard of. And Krishnaswamy just came to know through my classmate, Dr. Naresh Kumar, who told me, hey, Mohan, I know somebody who's 70, and I knew only 2 days ago, but you quickly were able to get it. So I said, there'll be many, many more people in India whom we don't know. And so when you reached out, through Cheryl, I came to know Meena Fernandez. Through Harsh Kohli, I came to know of the 3 people in Delhi. Otherwise, I would not have known at all. I established contact with them. I had telephone calls with them and checked out what all they were doing. And so that was how we identified them. Mr. Krishnaswamy came through my friend, classmate Naresh, who's a cardiothoracic surgeon. That's 2 days ago. Today evening only, Dr. Sharad Panche said, I've got Mr. Savanti. And I said, I'm sorry, I won't be able to make the medal and all that, and now hand it over. But we will definitely involve him, and I want to talk to him. I don't even have a cell phone number, so I couldn't even talk to him. So like this, there will be more people. And the idea is, first of all, to honor them. And secondly, by recognizing them, every day a new child is being diagnosed. And that's the first question they'll ask. Insulin, only insulin. And just last week, I hope that child is listening to me. I don't want to mention who it is. But there was a child, a girl child, who came to me a year ago. And she had little atypical forms of of features. So I did an entire monogenic testing. 78 types of monogenic diabetes I tested doing a genetic study, and all were negative. So I told her, I'm sorry, you have type 1 diabetes. This is not genetic, this is not MODY, it's not anything else, and therefore it's type 1. But then somebody told her, no, you can stop insulin and we'll try tablets. And the child lost a lot of weight, 6-7 kilos she lost. It's about 25% of weight she lost, and she developed mild ketosis. Luckily at that time, insulin was restarted. Otherwise you could have lost that child. And there are other children who have been lured away by, practitioners of other systems, saying that we have a herbal treatment, some other treatment. And I know of at least 2 or 3 children whom we were giving free treatment, giving free insulin, and then given some treatment and the child died, and not 1, but 2 or 3. I say it's murder. If you take away a child who's doing well and then give them some quack treatment and kill, it's as good as murder, when you know that the thing is available. But on that point, as Ashok said, and I mentioned that Hindu article, that's why I think the minister liked it, we must make insulin affordable. And I mentioned in that Hindu article that if Banting and Best were alive today, would they have been happy? And I said, no, he wouldn't have been happy. I know Banting's psychology, and he gave away insulin free. He didn't make even $1 out of his insulin discovery. He would have said, all that I discovered and still children dying because of lack of insulin, that's bad. I don't think he'd have been a happy man if he had lived. He was not happy even in his lifetime. So he had so many regrets. And this would have been one more thing to make him unhappy. So let's all make Banting happy. Let's all make Best happy. Let's make Saurabh happy, and let's make our leaders happy. Let's make JP Bose happy. Let's make my father happy, and Sam Bose happy, and all Ahuja happy. And let's make everyone happy by improving the lives of children with type 1 diabetes and everyone else, even adults with type 1 diabetes. And we have got everybody in this room, in this virtual room. We have got everybody here. All of you are committed. So why can't we get together and work for a cause? We are not getting nothing. Or what do I get by honoring all of you all? Do I get something? I don't get anything. But it's just to get all of you all together so that we can do that. So thank you all for coming. And we can just have the national anthem before we close.
Yeah.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उत्कल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे गावे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गावे तब जय गाथा गण गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
God bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jai Hind.
Bye-bye.
Jai Hind.
We'll all have more occasions to meet more informally. We'll see that all of you are given an opportunity to meet and to express the view of the long function. We could not, get all of you all to speak. But now that we've all got to know each other, I'm sure this won't be the last of the time that we meet. Thank you. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Cyril, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Thank you so much. I'm proud to say one thing. Dr. Mohan has visited me in my house and honored me. About
Great.
25 years back.
Wonderful.
Great.
So
I
happy.
think that's great.
So happy.
Great gesture.
So happy.
Great gesture on his behalf. Thank you, Mr. Prasanna and Madam. Great
Thank
to
you.
hosting Mohan in your house. Great. Anjana, bye.
Thank
Great
you, sir.
function. Tell
Bye-bye.
that
Bye-bye. I will.
beyond imagination, beyond
Thank you,
anybody's
Dr. Mohan.
imagination.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anjana.
Thank you. Thank you so much.